So this is another video we show to our students. This is, I think, probably the most impactful one I really like. There was another recent study done. This was a little newer. They figured about 85% of teen sexting images are being shared beyond like the one person in the group that was originally intended for.
Yes.
No, I'm sticking out.
I heard it was too many.
Check this out.
Hold up.
Whoa!
Oh man! Yo, send that to me real quick. I'm not gonna. Come on, send that to me. Look at that, boys. Check that out, boys. I got it. I had to send this to Mark.
Send that out now.
Like I said, I think that's one of the better videos we show the students, because usually at the beginning they're all laughing and joking, yes, and then by the end, especially our girls, you can tell somebody, either people are bright red or they're shooting looks across the room at each other, and some of them are pretty scared by the end of that. So the guy at the end, sometimes there's some confusion about who that's supposed to be. Is kind of your stereotypical child pornography collector. Unfortunately, it's something else we have a problem with here in the Valley. We actually had one of the biggest cases in Colorado at the federal level. Came out of Glenwood Springs, a case we worked a couple years ago where a guy, we found him, we have programs that go out to search peer-to-peer sites, file sharing sites for child pornography, and we can identify people through their IP addresses. And we had a guy in Glenwood Springs who was sharing stuff. We were doing some recon on the house, and there were some kids' toys and stuff outside, so we kind of moved on it a little quicker than we normally would. Got into the house, found that the guy had by the time we got done going through everything, over 400,000 images, over 12,000 videos, everything from infants to teens. Unfortunately, he had actually been producing material with a young child he had access to from the time she was 4 until she was 7 when we got to the house. It had been going on for 3 years. He lived about a block and a half from the elementary school right downtown Glenwood, just about a block away from my office, actually. So luckily, we did get him arrested. We took it federally just due to the size of the case, and he's in federal prison now for 60 or 65 years. But again, that was right here in town. And that's where a lot of the material, I've been doing digital forensics for about 5 years now. When I first started this, the majority of the material we recovered off these guys' computers was something like what this guy in Glenwood was doing. Somebody had access to a child or their own child, and make these videos and pictures and post them online, or share them with other pedophiles. Now, about 40 to 50% of the material we're pulling off these computers are just teen, mostly girls, some guys, and it's just that self-shot nude image in the mirror. It was probably meant for a boyfriend or for a crush or whatever. And just like in the video, it starts at the school, it gets shared around, and ends up online, and then it's out there forever. And once this stuff hits like our peer-to-peer networks or hits the dark web, if you've heard of the dark web stuff, it's gone. I mean, we have no control. We're never going to get that stuff back. It's out there forever. So part of what we do is when we have these child pornography cases, we'll send all the pictures and videos we collect off to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have a huge database of all the known victims. Same, so if I have a known victim who has pictures or videos taken or she took of herself, we'll send them in, and they compare all our cases to figure out, you know, if it's a known victim or if it's an unknown victim, and we need to try to identify them. So I get alerts for our known victims who are in the system, and unfortunately I get them quite a bit, so I don't have too many victims in there either. But I'll get an alert, you know, once or twice a month saying, hey, it just popped up on an investigation in Kansas, Kentucky, New York, overseas, you know. This stuff, again, internet's global, it goes all over the place. So again, I like that video for our kids, and then I talk to them about the same stuff, just trying to get that point across, that you may trust this person you're sending it to now, but there's a breakup or there's a fight, and that's usually when the stuff is starting to get shared and going out. So some of the consequences, humiliation and bullying are mostly what we're seeing. Fortunately, a lot of what we deal with, it's being caught at the school level, and we're grabbing it up, especially in the middle schools. We're seeing a lot of bullying where the picture goes out and people are just making fun of whoever took it. But they're doing that by sharing it. Blackmail. So our biggest issue we're having with this now is sextortion. The FBI is looking into this pretty hard. They're getting some better statistics on this. One of the resources I'll give to you as well, but if you want to look at it, go to thorn.org, I believe. It was created by Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore, and they're targeting human trafficking and sexting, sextortion really. They've got some really good statistics on there as well. But sextortion is just what it sounds like. It's when they're extorting kids for nude images. Like I said, that case we had in Texas is, with the suspect in Texas is how that started. He had friended a girl on Facebook with a fake account, made him look like he was a teen, got her to send one nude image, and then started sending threats saying, you know, send me more, teach your friends to send them, or I'm going to send this out to your school, your friends, your family, your Facebook. She said no. She unfriended him on Facebook, and the next day the mom logged into her Facebook account, her own account, and the first thing on her news feed is, just like in the video, it's her topless 11-year-old daughter. So obviously we got involved and they traced it back to that guy in Texas. But he was using some pretty horrendous threats, and that's what we're seeing a lot of now is this is turning into where kids are becoming suicidal over the threat of either having to comply with this person and continue to send pictures and videos or to try to get their friends to do it, or just knowing that that stuff is out there and that these guys are threatening them. Could result in school discipline and police involvement. So they're trying to get this changed again this year. It didn't pass last year, didn't even come out of committee last year. So right now in the state of Colorado, if you're under the age of 18, you can't even take a nude image of yourself without it being illegal. So for the video, as an example, the girl taking the picture and then sending it out, it's actually 3 separate felony sex offenses. It's production, distribution, and possession of child pornography. And then everybody that has it on their device and shares it is, again, that's also possession and then distribution if they're sending it out. For adults, you know, those are the felony sex offenses. You go on the registry with your picture, your address, all that stuff for life. All that being said, and we're telling kids, again, I tell them what the potential consequences are. We're also telling them that we're not charging kids for what's otherwise consensual behavior. So if images are shared in the course of a relationship, and then, you know, either like in the video, it's just like, hey man, send me that, and that's how stuff's getting shared. We're treating it more as an education piece. Potential if there's bullying going on, we have a new law for cyberbullying, so then we'll hit it from the cyberbullying standpoint. We're not charging kids with sex offenses if it's not warranted. The only time that's not true is, again, like that 17-year-old in Texas. He was actually tried as an adult and got like 15 years because it's in Texas. Wouldn't happen here. If we have something to that extent where they're using a lot of threats or extortion, we will charge it that way. But that's not going to be most of what we're dealing with, especially in the middle school. Most of what we're seeing is it's consensual behavior, it's just getting out of hand. And we tell the kids that too, not to let them think that it's okay. But these guys who are doing this sextortion, they'll use our own laws against us. This guy in Texas would figure out where his victims live. He would go online to LexisNexis, which you can find all the state laws on there. He would go out there and copy word for word of the child pornography statutes out and send it to his victims saying, hey look, you just committed a felony, you're going to be a sex offender. You know, if you're an 11-year-old girl, already in a bad situation, it's going to scare you even more. So I want our kids to know that. You know, if they make a bad choice and something gets sent out, it's not a big deal, especially if it stays local. We can get it, we can wipe the devices. and everybody can move on, having learned the lesson. But if these guys are using it to extort our kids, I don't want these kids thinking that they can't call me for help because I'm going to somehow charge them. It's just, we're not going to do that. We'll never charge a victim. So ways to address it. I think the biggest thing is talk about the consequences. I run into this a lot with kids who, especially not at the middle school, but in high school, they just say, hey, we're having sex. How is this any different? Okay, well, it is because you're not recording it, and it's not going to be out there forever. And like I said, that's why I like that video. Some kids don't care, but a lot of them just don't think about it. They see that, and it kind of clicks in their head. Tell them to never forward a sexing image. So if this stuff is getting passed around the schools, which it is, we see it in all the schools around here. I tell kids the best thing to do is delete it and report it to somebody. The next best thing, just delete it. At least don't be part of the problem. Discuss healthy sexual relationships. Unfortunately, sexting needs to be just, it needs to come up with whatever other talks you're having about sexual relationships, age appropriate, of course, with your children. The biggest thing is just talking about ways images can spread online. Again, kids are trusting, especially if they're boyfriend, girlfriend. They just think this will last forever. They're going to get married, everything else. We have the same problems with adults, unfortunately. We actually had to create a whole new law in Colorado called the revenge porn. It's kind of nationwide. Because we're having the same problems with adults. Adults will send stuff out, there's a breakup, and then stuff starts getting posted to porn sites or sent out to other people. And before, there was nothing we could do about it. Now, it's just a misdemeanor, but at least there's something we can step in and do. So it's not like it's just kids, it's happening to adults as well. And again, report it. This is for parents as well. Know that I'm not going to come in and arrest your kid if they took a picture of themselves and sent it out. I'm not going to come in and arrest your kid if they got a picture and send it out before they decided to tell you or before you found out about it. We're here to try to get all those devices collected, get them wiped, and then I usually sit down with them and have a pretty long conversation about what could have happened, and then we move on from there. We're not here to make kids into sex offenders, but we are here to try to protect them from their own bad decisions. So, sexual solicitation. This is going to be any unwanted sexual request or any sexual request by an adult. So the unwanted, obviously, is for our older kids, and then any sexual request by an adult of an underage person. Most of it occurs on social networking sites, and most of it is among older teens, and it's just kind of accepted. It's nothing different than what's happening in the hallways or at parties. And most aren't bothered by it, for the most part. But we do have our cases, and again, we've had cases here. Like I said, I had the one that came up on World of Warcraft, where an adult male met I think she was a 13-year-old female, chatting on World of Warcraft. She lived over in Castle Rock. He lived over in Valley Mesa. He eventually did decide to meet up with her and sexually assaulted her at gunpoint. She obviously had no idea that was going to happen. On the opposite side, we've had victims here as well, where we had a guy from the Air Force Academy talking to an underage girl. Decided to meet up with her one night. They thought they were just going to meet in the park and talk. He ends up sexually assaulting her, obviously against her will. We also have this with our undercover stuff. So I don't get to do it anymore. There was a big kind of snafu with the ethics committee. So since I work for a district attorney's office, even though I'm a cop, now they're saying that I have to abide by lawyer ethics, so I can't lie to people anymore. So until we get that hashed out, I can't do it. But we used to do undercover investigations here locally as well, where I would go online and pretend to be a teen, reply to Craigslist ads, stuff like that. And again, we've had adults travel here thinking they were going to meet a 13 or 14-year-old boy or girl, and then luckily it's a car full of cops, which is a lot more fun for us. But they're coming here. We didn't have any local offenders, thankfully. A lot of them were coming out of Denver, or I was being contacted by people out of Denver or Salt Lake City. Not a lot of them wanted to travel this far, and luckily in Colorado, if they just make arrangements to travel, we can still charge it. So we were doing that as well. But again, and it wasn't hard. It wasn't like I was going to only known sites where this stuff happens. I was just hanging out online or just posting an ad on Craigslist, and unfortunately guys wouldn't flock to it. So.
What kind of an ad on Craigslist?
We just put something like, anybody want to buy me an Xbox? And then take it from there. We have to be, when we're doing this on undercover stuff, we can't entice these guys. Does anybody remember To Catch a Predator? When it was on NBC, Chris Hansen, one of my favorite shows. I wish I hadn't taken it offline. If you hadn't seen it, it was they just did this. They teamed up with Perverted Justice, which is a civilian group who just goes out and targets these guys. Eventually, they started partnering with law enforcement as well, ICAC units, and they would just do this stuff. They go online, they chat with these guys, and they would have them come to the house. And since it was television, the first person they get to talk to was Chris Hansen. They always thought he was a cop, and it was fun to watch. And then Chris Hansen would let him go, and then they walk out the front door, and the SWAT team would tackle him and take him to jail. And they would clean up. They would rent houses, and they would do 2 or 3 day ops. And they would arrest guys by the dozen. And we're talking the full gamut: police officers, firefighters, military, clergy members. It was crazy. And that's they only show the good stuff on TV. They weren't showing just your random guy, maybe your stereotypical pedophile that you're thinking in your head. They were showing the shocking ones. So it's out there quite a bit. So offenders, they group children by just exploiting their natural curiosity for the most part. They'll gradually introduce explicit images, and that'll eventually include child pornography generally to try to normalize that. They'll eventually use their adult status to control the child's behavior. These guys aren't coming online as an adult anymore. Now, for the most part, they're creating these fake accounts that, they're better than mine most of the time. They have a lot more time to sit around and do this. Like I said, I had that guy in Rifle with 43 accounts, and they were complicated accounts. They weren't just like one picture. He would go take pictures from kids from overseas and use those to create his accounts. So they were actual groups of friends, and it looked pretty natural. But eventually they are going to flip that and say, hey, I'm an adult, I want to meet up. And that's generally when they'll use that adult status to try to control the child. And they'll offer gifts. So we had, when we were doing this a little more often, we actually had a P.O. box. And these guys would send all sorts of stuff. I always played it because I don't have a lot of images. I can't send nude images, stuff like that. So we have to kind of play it dumb. And I'd be like, oh, we don't have a lot of money. I just have an old flip phone. And they'd be like, all right, here's a Galaxy S, here's an Android, here's a iPhone. They'd start shipping you that stuff because they want those pictures. And they also want to know if it's a cop. So some signs. Obviously, if your kid gets a phone in the mail that didn't come from a friend or family member, probably should be a cause for concern. Calling unknown numbers. I've had a couple of what probably could have turned into sexual solicitation cases get interrupted just because parents were going through their phone bill or going through their kid's actual device and saw weird phone numbers or weird text messages and confronted the child. They tell them what's going on and then we get involved. So rejecting family and friends. So these guys are going to try to get these kids to turn away from everything because they want them to trust that person, especially when they're going to tell them it's an adult. They're getting upset when they're not online, which could just be a kid. Or minimizing the screen, and that goes for anything. Every time you walk in the room, the phone goes in the pocket, or the screen goes down. It's probably worthy of a conversation to see what's going on. So this is a video we show. Like I said, I always focus on female victims because it's generally what we deal with. We do have male victims of sex assault, just like we have male victims of sexual solicitation. And I forgot to mention this earlier when I was talking about sextortion. We had male victims there as well. But it's mostly about money. There was actually a pretty big ring in the Philippines where they had college kids going online pretending to be teen girls and trying to get teen males to send nude images. And then they would extort them, same thing, unless they're your friends, family, whoever. But they were looking for money. They were generally asking for like $500 in Green Dot cards or Bitcoin or something. So we have male victims. We have male victims of male perpetrators as well. But like I said, for the most part, we're seeing our male victims with money. But the same thing goes with our sexual solicitation, and I think these go way underreported just because some of the social stigma that comes with males as victims of sexual assault. I take that video out just because it's a little long. And we just generally, depending on time, we don't show it at the schools a lot just because it goes a little long. So some things you can do. Again, talk to your children about relationships. This is just like the sexting, just like everything else. Unfortunately, we just need to include this digital component into those already tough conversations. Set a policy about meeting offline for older teens. I don't encourage it. If they don't know who it is in real life, and again, in our valley, it's a little difficult. It's really easy for somebody here going to school to maybe meet somebody that goes to school in Rifle that maybe they haven't met face-to-face. But there's ways to make sure it is who they say they are. You should have mutual friends. We're a small enough community. You should be able to vet that person a little bit. And then if they do decide to meet them up, parents should be involved. It shouldn't just be, I'm going to meet you at the mall. And if you do all that and somehow you show up and it does turn out to be an adult, obviously that's when law enforcement certainly should be involved. These guys never just target one victim. They cast a real wide net because they know a lot of kids aren't going to go for this stuff. Trying to look for that one that they can exploit. So if you can recognize some of these signs, and I encourage our kids with this as well, if they're savvy enough to recognize this early, then they can potentially be protecting other kids. Again, know your child's online friends. Like I say, go through those friends lists from time to time. Teach your kids the warning signs. I don't hide anything. These grooming signs we just talked about, I talk about with our students as well. They need to know what it is they should be looking for. If they have somebody who they think is a teen, offer them and send them a phone. I want that to raise an alarm in their head. So we don't hide any of this stuff from them. And again, call the police. If we're at this point, this isn't like maybe this is something bad's going on. We certainly should be involved to potentially protect other kids.